welcome back to my channel. And I decided that today I'm going to do some writing sounds, and I'm going to write in the Hindi Devanagari writing. I had said about this in my last video, and I think one or two people were interested about it, so that's what I'm going to do today. And I'm going to do some basic writing in Hindi or the Devanagari script, and who knows, perhaps you will get to learn something interesting from it. So, starting on, we are going to start with the vowels, which are A, E, I, O, U, as we all know. So that's what I'm going to start with. And I suppose one thing that we need to keep in mind about Hindi is that it's a very pronunciation-specific language and script. The Devanagari script is very particular about its pronunciation, so that's what we're going to keep in mind, and hopefully you will enjoy this particular session. Anyway, starting from first, I'm going to write the vowels in English. A, E, I, O, U. These are the vowels of English. And now we're going to write the Hindi vowels. In Hindi, there are total 10 vowels. They're kind of similar to that of the English, but there's two variants for each of these vowels. So that's what we're going to look at. Starting with A. A is going to be the first vowel. So A is a vowel, and much like A, it's also, you can say, the first letter in the Hindi alphabet. So the way to write A is, first we'll create a roof. Every word, every letter in the Hindi alphabet has a roof. Then under that roof, we're going to draw a 3. And in between this 3, we're going to draw a line. And then we're going to draw another line to attach the 3 with. This is A. This is how we write A. Now there's another variant of A, which is called A. A. How is A drawn? Written is it's very similar to A. We're going to write A, and now we're going to draw another line. If you see, I just drew another line to A, and it became A. Now we're going to write A. A. So the way to write A is, again, we're going to draw a roof. We're going to make this like a 2 symbol, the symbol that resembles 2, and we're going to draw a line from between this, like this, connecting at the joint, and this is A. There is a superlative of A, which is called I. It's called I. How is I said? Similarly, we're just going to draw A, and we're going to give it a small antenna, and this becomes I. That's how it sounds, I. Then the I sound. I sounds like E. E. You know, if I write I, it sounds like E. I'm sorry if the camera is moving, my setup is kind of crazy. But now we're going to write E, and the way to write E is, we draw the roof, we draw an S shape, and in this S shape we're going to draw like a turn. We're going to give it a turn. S gets a turn, and it becomes E. E. Alright? The bigger E has a superlative, which is called E. E. It's like, I guess it's like it can be said like this, or maybe like this. E. How is E drawn? Well, it's similar to I. First we'll draw E. First we will draw E. The way E is drawn again, S, a twirl, and we're going to give this a little curve, and it becomes E. So now we have the two variants of E. Now I'm going to draw O. O. I'm going to draw O. I'm sorry if the audio is speaking. I'm going to... Yeah, now the audio should be much clearer. But we are going to draw O. O is... O looks very similar actually to the sound, and first we're going to draw the and then we're going to give it the roof, the line like the and you know how A has an antenna, we're going to give an antenna to A gets an antenna and it becomes O. A plus antenna is O. It's like A plus antenna is equal to O. You know, E plus curve is equal to E. You know, A plus antenna is equal to I. And of course, A plus a line is equal to R. So I've drawn an O. Now O also has a superlative called ow. Ow. How is ow is drawn? Ow is written like this or like this. Ow is drawn kind of similar to O. The O is drawn, like I said, like gets an antenna, and besides this antenna we're going to add another antenna. So O plus antenna is equal to O. O. So this is the two variants of O. Now we're going to go to the U. Now if you see, the U sounds like oo. It sounds like oo. So how is oo drawn? Oo can be written like this, I guess. And the way oo is drawn, we're going to give it a roof. And we're going to draw the 3. And that's pretty much it. This is how you draw oo. So, you know, if we remove these particular lines from it becomes oo. But there is oo. And the way to draw oo is, again, going to draw oo, which is basically a roof and a 3. And you know how we gave a curve to E? We're going to give a curve here. And it becomes oo. So basically, if we see minus this is equal to oo, and oo plus curve is equal to oo. This is how we write oo. So now if you see how English has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Hindi has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It has 10 variants of vowels. And these vowels are going to be used when we write different words and alphabets, and when we form sentences, and basically it's the building blocks for a lot of the words, which vowels usually tend to be. So I hope you get this. You understood what I tried to tell here. Now we're going to... I've decided that I'm going to write a bunch of English alphabets, but in the Devanagari Hindi manner, because that's going to be much easier for a lot of you to understand, I believe. So we're going to do that. Let me. Starting with, we're going to start with the English alphabet A. We're going to start with A. Sorry. A. I'm going to just write it in the capital letter. There's no such rule for capitalization in Hindi, for as I'm aware of. I can't think of any. Our letters, our words, our alphabets look more or less same. So A. Now, you know how I just mentioned that the letter A is the first letter in the Hindi alphabet. So this is how we started usually. But because Hindi is also a very pronunciation specific language, we would have to take care of how certain words sound. So A has a very particular voice, which is kind of similar, if you remember, to the E or this word A. So that's what we're going to write here. A, right? Because that's how we usually say the English letter A. So that's how we're going to write it in Hindi, like the vowel A. I guess another way of writing this is AE. I'm going to write it in the back bracket AE because that's how we pronounce it. So that's how we write A. Now comes B. Now at the moment I have shown you the vowels. I haven't shown you the complete alphabet. This will be one way to show that. For B, we'll have to write the Hindi letter B. Hindi has a letter called B. But unlike B, it has no vowels. All the letters in their primal state in Hindi, all the alphabets are without any particular vowel. We add the vowel and that's how they get their sound. So how we write B? First, a roof. Then we will stretch a line. Then we will create a half circle like this. And we will put a line. Right? A roof, a line, a half circle. And in a half circle we're going to kind of like slit it or divide it or cut it. And this is how ba is written. Ba. But because this sounds like B, I guess, it doesn't sound like B. It sounds like B. We'll take the ba. And now here comes the interesting part. So if you see the vowels, all of the vowels a, e, I, o, u, they all have the sound. The sound. It's not like this is called a, sa, se, I, chi, shaw. It doesn't sound like that. There is no sound to it. All of them have the sound to it. And that's how vowels are usually written. Even if you see A, E, I, O, U, they all have a very kind of sound to it. But when we use other words apart from the sound, we will have to compensate the vowels with the particular alphabets. So because we are writing B, and if you see the E is written like this, we're going to replace the E with B, with ba. We're going to replace E with ba, but this is going to remain the same. So how will this be written? Ba plus E equals B. This is how B is written. Then comes C. C, I guess, can be written like this. So the letter S, again, no vowel to the letter itself. It's written like, first we're going to draw a roof. Then you know how for A we drew this like a dew symbol. So we're going to draw a symbol like this. But instead of making it go like this, we're going to also stretch a line here, and it becomes S. Again, plus E, C, right? Now we're going to write D. The alphabet D, how is it written? It's written kind of like the alphabet E is written, but instead we are not going to write the curve. For D, we exclude the curve. So basically it looks like an S. If you see, I haven't made a small curve, the tail. I guess tail is a good way to say it. And this is D plus E equals D. So A, B, C, D, E. Now comes the letter E, which, if you see, the vowel E is written like this. So we're going to write this as it is, like this, you know. Also, because the vowel in itself is written like this, some of you may be wondering why these alphabets are not written like these. Well, it just happens to be the rule, the law of Hindi, that when converting the vowels for the other words, for the normal words, we just create a small line to compensate with the other words. But as long as the vowel themselves are concerned, they're going to be written this way. It just happens to be the rule. I don't create the rule, so now we're going to write F. A, B, C, D, E, F. F has a sound like this. F. How will we write F? If you see, we have this called A. We have this letter A. Now, when we are going to write this in, when we are going to convert this for the other word, what happens is we're going to write the A with another word. So the A is going to be like this. It's going to remain as it is, and we will add the word fa. Fa. Now, how is fa written? Fa is written, first we create a roof, then in the middle of the roof we create a line, and then we create what you can call a half swastika. First we will draw a block here, and then another block here. We don't connect this block, by the way. It remains like this. So if you see, this is like a half swastika. The only thing it's missing is a line here. And then we draw a dot here, and this becomes a fa. The fa. Similar to this, you can also write the word pa, which sounds kind of like PHA. You know, pa, pa. See, fa and pa has a different sound. How is pa written? I'm just telling you this for context. Pa is written similar to F, to fa, except you don't add this dot. This is how pa is written, this is how fa is written. Because English alphabets don't have pa by nature, we're going to just go with fa. So F. F. So now we're done with F. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. G. G has a G kind of sounds like this, doesn't it? Or I guess you know the way we were writing all of these. So all we have to do is we have to write the letter J. How is the letter J written? Draw a roof, then a line, then another line, and then a half circle. This is how J is written. J. Again, like the rest, add E to it, and it becomes G. G. H. H. I guess H is the way you say it. A, we have this word called A, but when we're going to use it for a different sound than A, what happens is that we borrow this for the word. How does this happen? I'm going to show you. So H, we take the A plus J. So first we wrote J, and now we have to write J. How is J written? You draw a roof, draw a line, and then from below here you create a half circle and you draw a line like this, and this is J. And it becomes H. If you see, it's kind of like F, H. The difference is there's an antenna here, there's no antenna here. H. Some people also pronounce it as H. I'm not gonna. G-H-I. I. We're going to use the R sound. If you remember, we have the R sound. So R, and there's a little Y sound at the end of I. It sounds like I, E. So plus we are going to add the Y sound to it. How does Y sounds? How is Y created? Well, roof. Then you know the way we created this kind of like a 2 symbol, similar to that. You create a 2 symbol, but you connect the symbol to a line here, and this is how Y is created. So this becomes I. Sorry, let me write it again. I. Or I guess another way of writing is it is I, A. I don't know, I'm kind of confused about this. You may use the A sound from here for the I, or you use I. Now I'm going to write G-H-I-J. We're going to write J. J kind of sounds like this or this. If you remember, we already have a J. So this, we're just going to use the J plus A. However, because we're not going to use this, we're going to borrow the antenna from A, and we're going to use the antenna and use it with the word J, and it's going to become J. Now this may confuse you, which is pretty normal if you haven't seen this script and language beforehand. But let's say that this is J, right? Which kind of sounds similar to, like I said, to A. Now what if we have to write it as J? Like we add a J to this and A-I-E. J. If you have to write J, I guess. So, you know how we have the A, and A looks like this, aforementioned. So because we borrowed the A for J, we're going to put another A into the J. This only happens with words that do not give the sound. When there's another sounding word like ba, ka, sa, da, sha, then we just add another A and it becomes J. You have to remember there is no additional line to this. If I add another additional line to this, then this becomes Jo or Jaw. Jo and Jaw. So let's write that too. Let's say I write Joe. I'll write it like the way I'm writing J, except I'm going to add another line and it becomes Joe, like Joe Mama. And if I have to write it like Jaw, the way I wrote J, but I just add a line and it becomes Jaw. So that's the tricky rule of Hindi, which you're not going to get at the first attempt. You will have to practice it a bit. Anyway, I've written J. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. That brings us to K. K. K, I guess, is written like this. So first we'll have to add the letter K and then add A to it, like I just showed you in J. How is K written? First we draw a roof, then we draw the middle of the roof. It's kind of like the way we drew fur. But instead of drawing a half swastika, we're first going to draw a circle here, like the way we drew in Ba, if you remember. Ba. So we're going to draw half of this, and then we're going to draw a curve like this. But we're not, so if you see, we're not going to put a line here. This is going to be empty, a curve and a line. Roof, in the middle is going to be a line, then a curve, then a line. And that's how we write Ka. Again, add the A. And like I told you, the rule that we will have to add an antenna, it becomes K. K. That's the K sound. So G, H, I, J, K, L. Now comes L, which sounds like this. L. So A. And we now will have to add the L sound. This is the K. How is L created? Again, roof at the side. And this might be a little tricky, but you have to draw two mountains now. So this and this. I guess these are also the way people draw birds, you know, like this and stuff. So the bird is connected to a line which is which has a roof, and that's how La is created. So La. So A plus La equals L. L. Now comes GHIJKLM, which sounds like this M. Again, A. And now we have to write the M sound. The M sound. How is the M sound made? Roof. And now we're going to draw a line here, but midway through we're going to give it a turn like this, and then we're going to draw another line, and this is how M is created, like this. And this is how you write M. This is how M is written, and this is how M. Now N. N again. A. But now we have to write N. How is N written? Kind of like M. It's written kind of like M, but instead we will exclude this particular line. So, like this. If you see, if I join these dots, if I make a line here, it becomes M. If I don't, it becomes na. That's how N is written. GKLMNO. Now if you remember, we already here have the O sound. We have already created the O sound here, and that's what we are going to use. O. Now comes P. P. P, I guess, sounds like this. So first we would have to write pa and then add E to it. So how is pa written? Roof. Draw a line. Then midway through you give it a 90-degree turn and draw another line, and this is how P is written. Pa is written, sorry. Plus E. This is pa. E. And this becomes P. The way we have written B and C, the P is written. Now comes Q. Q. Now the Q, if you see the Q, the word Q sounds kind of like K or C. It has some similarities. If you see, Q sounds kind of like K. So you know how for K we had Ka. We're going to take the Ka, and the only difference we're going to add is that we're going to give it a dot. It's same as Ka, but now with the dot. And what does the dot do? It gives it a slight glottal feeling. If you see, the term Q is actually said with a bit of glottal. Now we're going to add the term ya, if you remember, ya, and ya will get this the oo feeling. Now we're going to tell you how to write oo. When you're writing oo for any other word that doesn't sound with it also changes its face. And you also have to remember that the way Q is pronounced, it's said Q, 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 Q. If you see, the ya sound is very small. It's half. It sounds half. It doesn't sound like Q. It doesn't sound like Q. It sounds like Q. So we're going to half the K actually. K. Then we're going to take the ya, and now we have to give this U, this U feeling. So we just put a line like this, and this becomes Q. Basically, similarly, if you have to write boo, we just write ba, and we give it this, and it becomes boo. If you have to write, it becomes boo. If you have to write poo, we take ba, we add this line, it becomes poo. Similarly, if you have to write it as boo and poo, not give it that huge, that lengthy, I don't know what you call it, but instead of poo, if you have to write poo, or instead of boo, if you have to write poo, so we are going to write ba and pa the similar way, but instead of the curve going like this, it will go like this. So if you see, it just went the opposite direction. If it goes the left way, it's the oo sound, and if it goes the right way, it goes oo. So yeah, like I was saying, we're going to add, if it has to be oo, then you just add it to the left. If you have to be oo, then you add it to the right. Yet again, you would have to practice this to properly get it. It's not something that you can figure out at the first go. Anyway, this was Q. PQR. Now comes R. R kind of looks like this. You must have noticed that we write ah like this. This is R. And we're going to write R. R. How is R is written? R is written like, if we draw a roof, and if you remember how in a lot of these we have drawn kind of like a elongated 2, well, that's what we're going to draw only. This is how Ra is written. Put them together and they become R, R. This is R. Now S. S has this kind of a voice. And the way to write it is the way we write A and Sa. If you remember, the way Sa was written here in C, it was written like this. But instead of it getting Sa plus E equals C, it's going to be A plus Sa and S. A, Sa, S. This is how we write it. P, Q, R, S, T. Now we have to write T. The T can be written like this. First we will write again Da, then the E. How is that written? The way the Da is written is roof, small line, and then a curve. That's literally how Da is written. Da plus E, like you have seen this one, becomes T. So PQRST, U. U. U is kind of like the way U can be written or YOU can be written. So I've already told you the way Ya looks. Ya plus U. And you know how I said for the oo sound you have to write it in the curve has to be at the right hand side. So Ya, curve to the right, this becomes U. Now we have to write V. 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 So we have to write Va. Now the letter Va is written very similarly to the letter Ba. So we're going to draw a roof, then a line, and then this curve. But the difference is now we're not going to cut it, or we're going to put a line into it, and this becomes Va. The Ba, if you remember, is very similar to this, but we put a cut to it and it becomes Ba. There's no cut in the Va. Plus E equals V. W. Now W is a bit tricky to write because it's a combination of multiple sounds like W or U or whatever. So I've already told you how Da is written. Da plus Ba plus La plus Ya plus U. W. However, we'll have to see that the W, I think the La would have to be sliced in half, so we'll just look about that. Da, ba, l, u. Yeah. Let me write it again. Draw a roof. Da, ba, l, ya, u. W. I would have written the la properly if it was double u. If it was called double u, then it would have made sense, but it's called W, so I have to write the la half. UVW. Now comes X. X. X is written like ECKS or EKS or whatever. X. A plus K plus Sa. Again, I would have to say that the K may have to be halved. It's not called Ekas, it's called X. So, E plus half ka. The way we write half is that we just exclude the final line. If you see in when I wrote half la, I just excluded the what was at the right hand side, and we're going to exclude that. I wrote this half and then sa, x, y. Y is written like, I guess, y. Maybe this one way to write it. I've already told you how y is written. The va from the v, va plus a plus, I guess, ya. The ya sound will make sense here. I don't think any word would need to be halved here, so we're gonna try y, y, and now, last but not the least, finally done with this thing, z, z, for which we have to first write z, and then we had to add the e. How is z written? Well, if you may remember, the way we wrote the ja, this is called ja. So the way we wrote ja, we're going to write it just the same way. We'll write ja. The difference is on the ja, we'll add a little dot, and this becomes za. Za. This is how ja is written, and a dot makes it za. Za plus e, and you remember the drift, it becomes z. You see how the way we write oo, when we write oo, we make the thing turn to the right. Similarly, when we write e, we make the thing turn to the right. And if we have to write z, instead of z, z, then za, and we'll make this turn to the left, and it becomes z. So what you have to learn is that for, I guess, for longer sounds turn right. Shorter sounds turn left. And that's what you have to remember. So anyway guys, I guess this is going to be all. This was a long hacking video. Editing this will be a whole lot of fun, but I hope you learned something and you enjoyed the whole process of writing Hindi alphabets. And if you like this video, then please do give it a thumbs up, and please give me more suggestions for more videos. I will see you later.